Another great weekend to keep you up to speed with all happening in the world of sport. We will get to know the supreme leader of the European football today when the UEFA Champions League gets underway in London 2024. All road leads to Wembley, of course, where we'll have the finals of the UEFA Champions League for the 2023-2024 season. What would you be tipping? Real Madrid, who have been back-to-back champions, who have been the most successful team on the European scene, or Borussia Dortmund, who are looking to just get it once again after making 3 finals of the UEFA Champions League. All right, the doors are open for you to make your prediction, but today we'll get to dive into that conversation. Away from that, we'll bring you up to speed with Nigerian teams making their showing in the world of basketball, in the world of cricket, and of course, in the world of football. These are many more we have on the show today. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. You're welcome to In the Game. You can follow, like our social media platforms at News Central TV. Do not forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are streaming live right now. Finally, you can watch us on YouTube. But get to engage the hashtag In the Game for you to join the conversation. Now let's run through our top 5 stories making the rounds in the world of sport. I will be giving you updates by the Nigerian volleyball team, the beach volleyball team. They have resumed camping in the Republic of Benin as they begin the preparations for the forthcoming Paris 2024 Olympic Game qualifiers. The team consists of 9 players and they hope to pick the only ticket for Africa. Can the Nigerian ladies do it? Of course, they've got a big task ahead for them. As a part of the plans to give adequate preparation, a tour of Africa was arranged by the Nigerian Volleyball Federation. And after a few days of delay, the team traveled out of the country for Togo. They were involved in several training and friendly games. Of course, before departing Lomé to Cotonou, the women beach volleyball team won bronze at the 13th African Games in Ghana to book a place in the qualifiers. The qualifiers for the Olympics will be held in Morocco from June 19 to 23. So if the ladies punch their way to Paris 2024, from Morocco, they will be on the next flight to the City of Love, France, of course. Away from that, let's tell you that day 1 of the 4th Making of Champions MLC Grand Prix featured the throws as Iran's Hossein Razaouli brought the fireworks to the Abatek Sport Complex in Lagos. He shattered the meeting record in the men's discus throw with a brilliant 5.735 meters on Friday, May 31, 2024. His winning attempt came on his 6th and final try, improving with every attempt to finish just a few centimeters off the season's best, Ifeanyi Onukwe, who squeaked over a 50 meters, getting second with 50.01 meter, while we've got Ofoku Iyanovo Benir. He was third with 46.74 meters. In the men's shot put, 2-time Iranian champion Mehad Zeberi, he followed the exploit of his compatriot, also breaking the meeting record with 19.61 meters. He beat Emeka Ugu, beating the Nigerian in their home turf by a distance. The Nigerian settling for second with 16.64 meters, while Emmanuel Sakamodu placed third with 16.16 meters. Oh, these Americans and Iranians coming all the way to topple the ground for the home contenders. We're hoping that when it gets to the track, we'll see Nigerians dominating in the Making of Champion Grand Prix at Yabatek. So if you're in Lagos, catch up in Yabatek over there, sporting action in the world of athletics. Let's move away from that, tell you a bit of football right now as Ghanaian midfielder Bernard Mensah. He emerged as the 3rd most successful dribbler in the Saudi Arabian Pro League at the end of the 2023-2024 season. Nobody but an African, of course. The former Atletico Madrid star ended his first campaign in the Gulf nation as one of the best players in the SPL after scoring 14 goals and delivering 2 assists in 30 matches for Al Ta'ar. His dribbling prowess also places him as one of the most exciting players in the league, outranking Cristiano Ronaldo and Sadio Mane of Al Nassr. Only 2 players have had successful take-ons than the Ghanaian, and those 2 players are Lucas Zakarian of Al Fateh and Alan Saint-Maximin of Al Ahly. The Argentine forward has made 147 successful dribbles, followed by the Frenchman with 146. Mensah is in third place with 139 successful dribbles. So he would have just toppled the record if he had added more take-ons in his dribbling. But right now he places third in the dribble ladder, the most successful dribbles in the Saudi Arabian Pro League, and we can say that we are all smiles from Africa here as the Ghanaian is representing the continent. From here straight to tennis, where Andy Murray is considering playing the Wimbledon doubles with his brother. So it will be a brother affair in the world of tennis, the next Wimbledon for 2024. Three-time Grand Slam champion Andy Murray, he says he may play the men's doubles alongside his brother Jamie at the next month's Wimbledon Championship. The 37-year-old Scot has won 2 Wimbledon single titles, while his brother Jamie is a 2-time Wimbledon mixed doubles champion. So they both understand the term properly. They understand it so well. The Murray brothers also played together at the 2016 Rio Olympics, and they were a prolific partnership when Britain won the Davis Cup in 2015. Can they have one last ride together as siblings? Big question when the 2024 Wimbledon Championship begins, but Murray would be with his Murray brother, Jamie. Away from here, an update, of course, from France says a man has been arrested in southern France over a plan to attack a football stadium which will be used during the Summer Olympic Games, official did say. The 18-year-old of Chechen origin was apprehended in Saint-Etienne on the 22nd of May after authorities found evidence of Islamist-inspired attack on him. This was revealed by officials. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin praised the intelligence services for successfully foiling the first plot together and also fighting against all these targets against the Games. France is on high alert in a run-up to the Olympic Games, which starts on the 26th of July 2024. Authorities have now named the man arrested last week. They do not want to reveal his name. According to the French media, he was caught after exchanging encrypted messages with known Islamists. Photographs and videos of the stadium were allegedly found on his phone and computer too. So at this time, his name has not been revealed, but we'll be getting updates of what next would follow after he has been caught. Well, it's great to see that the French police are on a red alert just to safeguard athletes who will be coming and fans will be coming to watch the Paris Olympic Games. There you have it, our top 5 stories at this time. We return with more updates in the world of sport. Do not go anywhere. In the Game continues. Welcome back. You're still watching In the Game. Did you miss our top 5 stories? You can catch up. Get to follow and like our social media platforms at News Central TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're streaming live right now on YouTube and we want you to catch up and we go deeper into the world of sports. Engage the hashtag In the Game to join the conversation. Right now, to continue in the world of sport, I've got one who knows the world of sport so well. It's a familiar terrain for him, and he knows how to banter in the world of football. I've got Oladuni Bankole joining me right now in the studio. Thank you so much, Oladuni. It's great to have you as my partner right now for today to talk sport.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Thank you very much. It's the Champions League weekend, and you know it is on these days. We tend to just enjoy ourselves, unwind until 8 p.m. where we see the action go down Wembley, and hopefully we'll get to see a winner within 90 minutes. And if we don't,
yes, of course, let's get ready to rock and roll. I would love to see Borussia Dortmund, go with the title, but all favor, everything is just in the favor of Real Madrid and Carlo Ancelotti's side. But before we go deeper into that conversation, because we'll sure have to preview that matchup for the finals, let's go deeper, bring an update from the Olympics. The torch relay, a spectacular event, marked the end of May in the Marche department of West France, of course, from Chibon and Cofontin and Granville, and the final to the iconic Mont-Saint-Michel. The Olympic torch illuminated this region. Notably, we have French astronaut Thomas Pesquet. He was among the torchbearers. This relay is part of a long journey that commenced on May 9th and will culminate in Paris on July 26th. The significance extends beyond the Olympics, as 1,500 torches will be employed for this relay with an additional 500 marked for the Paralympics. It was a great sight to behold, but let's go to France right now and see how that turned out.
C'est comme une épreuve sportive, c'est comme un décollage dans l'espace, c'est quelque chose qu'on imagine, qu'on attend, et puis finalement il arrive, voilà, tout se passe bien, il y a une super atmosphère, super ambiance autour de nous, énormément d'ondes positives, et puis on va à la rencontre des gens, c'est ça qui est important, c'est que les Jeux Olympiques, c'est pas un truc qui se passe à Paris et qui concerne que les athlètes.
All right, there we've seen an astronaut being a torchbearer for the Paris Olympic torch. Oladuni, it's interesting to know that a lot of people would have to carry that torch until it gets to its final destination. We have seen the drag queen who is ready to go with the torch, parading the torch and all that. And now we've got an astronaut. So what is yet to come for those who will be parading the torch for the Paris Olympic Games?
Well, it's one of the benefits of one of the things we enjoy with the Olympics. It's not just about sports. It's not just about athleticism. It's not just about weightlifting. It's also about the community itself. It's also about the city by which it's been hosted. You know, it brings people together. It's the whole point of the Olympics. You know, the 6 rings that you see on the Olympics it represents a whole lot of things. It represents unity. It represents peace. The whole purpose of starting the Olympics, you know, was to unite countries. Was to unite, you know, conflicting countries in terms of war, and that's exactly what we've seen in the last couple of years. So when you see people carry the torch, you see significant people in communities. And in Brazil, when it was hosted in Rio, you know, it was also carried by someone who had an impact in the community. It's not just astronauts. We've seen entertainers, you know, lift it. We've seen, you know, people who have run for office. We've seen activists, you know, lift the torch for the Olympics. So it's actually nice to see that the community, or the French community in Paris, has handed it over to an astronaut this time. You know, taking us out of space as we go into the Olympics. It means that the events will be out of this world.
I'm telling you, and the fact that it is a city of love, you know, it's contagious already. I'm already feeling the love.
Yeah, it's Paris. I mean, we've all looked forward to it ever since it was announced that Paris would be hosting the Olympics. We've seen the relationship between the city and the sport itself, from Paris to Rio to Beijing. It's always about, you know, that relationship. It's always about that romance of the Olympics. That's why, you know, it goes to specific cities that represent, you know, significant things. And Paris is, like you mentioned, is one of the most significant cities around the world. And hopefully, like I said, the Olympics would be out of this world, just like the astronaut itself.
All right, I'm waiting to see where Nigeria would land in the City of Love, because the sport minister has revealed that the campaign will open on June 2nd, and they're trying to tighten all loose ends, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and making sure that Nigeria will have the best campaign in Paris. I will be crossing our fingers and waiting for that time when countries will make their way to Paris. I'll be here to take the first country that will be arriving in the City of Love, away from, of course, France. Let's go to tennis, Oladuni, right now. It's the Roland Garros in Paris, same Paris for sure. And it's Tunisia's Ons Jabeur. She seeded number 8, but she defeated Canadian Leylah Fernandez. You can see the feeling, of course, in those pictures on air right now. Leylah Fernandez is seeded number 31, so we're expecting nothing less than a win for Ons Jabeur. Ons Jabeur went 6-4, 7-6, securing her spot in the round of 16 for the 4th time in her career. This should be an emotional one, because Ons Jabeur has been having a very tough season since last year. Of course, she made it into 3 finals, but only clinched 1, because she was always the runners-up in all those finals, and she had one very, you know, fatal injury that would have cost her a career. But look at her, she's back again, raising the continent's flag over there in the world of tennis. This means a lot, Oladuni, to Ons Jabeur.
Absolutely. It means a lot to not just Ons Jabeur, it means a lot to Africa. It's good to have finally have an African you know, representative on the WTA circuit, a circuit that is known for inconsistency. You know, we love with female tennis, but one thing that you can associate with female tennis is that it is difficult to find a player who can go the long distance, who can go, you know, for years, who can dominate for years. We've seen it with Serena Williams, but aside from that, it has also been difficult for someone else to come in and take the mantle. It has been different people in different years. And for Ons Jabeur, since 2022, she had a great year in 2022, by the way. She swept 1,000 Masters, the old WTA circuit. She picked up titles along the way. But 2023, it became difficult. You know, it became, when you increase your profile, when you get to a certain stage on the rankings, you know,
she was at the time, she was ranked number 5.
Opponents also to, you know,
she was ranked number 5 in the women's singles.
Yeah,
but
so
with all those dwindling form, she had to drop to almost number 10, I think.
Yeah,
so
it was basically the adaptation to a new type of profile. You know, when you become a big player, it takes you a while, you know, to adapt to it, and that was exactly what she went through, you know, last season in 2023. But now she has gotten to the last 16 of the Roland Garros, and hopefully, especially when you consider that Leylah Fernandez is also, you know, one of the best players, one of the up and coming best players around on the circuit. She got to the final of a Grand Slam last year and also 2 years ago. So it's good to see, you know, our own Ons Jabeur, even though she's not Nigerian, but she's from the continent. So our own Ons Jabeur trying to win a Grand Slam, and yeah, it will be nice to see, but it's only going to get difficult from here. Iga Swiatek, you know, is still the one to defeat.
Iga Swiatek had defeated Naomi Osaka. It was an emotional
especially the manner at which she dispatched Osaka. Osaka was barely match point, you know, to get that game, but she broke herself, and the rest, like they say, is history. So it's hopefully would get to see someone conveniently take out Swiatek for Ons Jabeur, and we'll see her lift the Roland Garros. It's the French Open. We love all of these fairy tales in the French Open. We rarely see fairy tale stories in the French Open. Is either Rafael Nadal or Iga Swiatek or the number 1 seed down to number 3 seed players winning it. But this time it will be nice to see a surprise. It will be nice to see someone else, you know, pick up the Roland Garros title.
Yes, of course, I would say in the world of tennis, the future is indeed bright and is in safe hands, because we can see a bit of a navigation from the top 3. The likes of Roger Federer would retired. Rafael Nadal is soon to retire, because after pulling out or even being ousted from the French Open.
He was beaten properly.
He was beaten proper, yes, of course. But these are the times we're seeing are fading off, but I know that the future is indeed bright for men's tennis. Let's move away from the court and go to the table, where Egypt's Anna Goder Oladuni, of course, now she will have to say goodbye to the WTT championships, because these Chinese will not leave the Africans alone on table. Oladuni, she got her first win, defeating an Indian over there in the competition, and now she went to the next round of the competition in the round of 16, but could not go past her opponent, Chen Meng. Meng had to mend her over there, ending her run in the WTT championship. This is a young Egyptian, a young star who is dominating on the continent in Africa. And now here she's trying to explore more options, you know, expose herself to more competitions. And I think this will really be a good preparation for her going into the Paris Olympic Games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not surprised. I don't think we should be surprised when it comes to table tennis, which is known as ping pong in some Asian countries. It is their sport. It is their culture. You know, we are only trying to emulate what they've said. You see 3-year-old kids, 4-year-old kids, you know, playing the sport. Some of them can actually beat you and I, you know, because
don't even put me there, because the truth is
I'm serious. They tend to play this.
I'm not even going into contention with any one of them.
Right from the very beginning, right from their primary schools, right from their secondary schools, they own their skills. We don't have that culture, you know, in Nigeria. It's the same way cricket is for Indians.
I think we're building it.
Yeah, we are, but we're not there yet.
We're
not there yet. Africa as a whole is not there yet. You know, it's like India and cricket. You know, South Africa and rugby. You know, New Zealand and rugby. It's the same thing with the Asians and table tennis. It's their own. It's their culture. You see their kids, you know, play it. It is. They teach them early. They own their skills very early. So when it gets to competitions like this, we can only try and hope that we get lucky. But in terms of ability, in terms of, you know, bringing it to the table itself, I think we don't stand a chance against these guys. These guys are basically, you know, the people from Hong Kong, from China, from Japan. These guys are too good. They are too good to be beaten.
I am crossing my fingers, hoping that the Paris Olympic Games will have at least 2 medals from the singles.
From table tennis?
Yes, from table tennis.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful.
I wouldn't open that. If we get it, it will be nice. If we get it, it will be nice. It will be a pleasant surprise.
Remember that the former world number 1, Timo Boll, he says that he would likely drop the bat at the Paris Olympic Games. So one who wants to have a last ride, you can manipulate such a player.
If it drops the ball, if he wants to have a last ride, it is also certain that the next person, the successor to this world number one, would also be from the Asian continent. You know, it's not. Look,
of course, the investments they have.
I am the biggest person who is biased to African athletes, but when it comes to certain things, we can't ignore the facts. We can't ignore precedents. And precedents that have been set is that the Asians are way too good. The Asians, maybe at some point, we'll get there. Maybe the culture we are currently developing, the culture we are currently cultivating, will get to that level. But for now, the head start that they have over us is way beyond what we can catch up in a couple of months.
All right, Oladiri, let's go. And let me tell you where I know that Africans can have a headway. You know, they have the top hand over here. The word of boxing, you cannot say the Europeans or the Asians can go all out against an African here in the full squared row. But let me give you an update here that Zainab Adeshina, she has qualified for the quarterfinal of the women's 50 kg class in the Boxing World Qualification Tournament, currently ongoing in Thailand. So, in a repeat of 2024 African Games semi-final clash, Adeshina defeated Grace Fabulin of Liberia 5-0. Of course, she had to move into the next round. She channeled all her energy with all that is happening here in Nigeria. She was able to channel it in the full squared rope to go all out, giving Fabulin no point at all. Adeshina is the only Nigerian boxer to have won the bout at the ongoing tournament, because we had two of our boxers already ousted in the men, talking about Ifeanyi Onyekwere in the men's 92+ kg class and Blessing Oraikwe in the women's 66 kg class. However, she could be joined by highly rated Patricia Mbata. Patricia, who faced Vivian Pereira of Brazil in the women's 75 kg for Saturday today. So I am waiting to see Patricia go all out against her Brazilian opponent. But here is Africa against Africa, and we've seen the dominant one, and that's Nigeria's Zainab Adeshina.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see. Like I said, on the table tennis, we are also, trying to cultivate our boxing culture. We are seeing different amateur boxing competitions, coming around. There's one popular one from the cable TV that comes, is it twice a year? And we've seen different communities also, try to bring in the young ones into boxing. And like you said, the whole situation in the country is one of the biggest, motivation for some of our outlets out there. When you think of...
But I fear for these boxing athletes, because the truth is, the Tokyo Olympic Games, I remember the then minister never had an edge for them. He says they might likely not bring in any medal, because right now the country is trying to invest in athletes that would medal prospects. We can see athletics, how Nigerian athletes have been running, the times that they have been running in blistering forms, of course, in athletics meets.
It's the issue we have in this country. The Minister of Sports, or the Ministry of Sports, for a long time has been nicknamed the Ministry of Football, because if it's not football, we tend to always take our attention away from it. There are so many opportunities. There are so many ways we can, empower our youth out there. There are talented people out there, not just. Are you
optimistic about this boxing? Athletes, we have.
I'm optimistic about all of our athletes, every single person that will be participating in the Tokyo Olympics. The fact in the Paris Olympics, the fact that you've qualified, the fact that you did enough to be in that competition, it's something you should be proud of. Not a lot of people tend to, participate in the Olympics, but if you are good enough to be in the Olympics, then you've already won a medal, regardless of where you finish. That is my school of thoughts. It's not just about Nigerians or Africans, even all around the world. People jump through several hoops, just to be in the Olympics. So regardless of you winning a medal or not, you've won. So like I was saying, we have to do better, not just with boxing, but also other sports. It's not just about football. We can't just focus our attention on football, and it's not even guaranteed that we'd get a medal out of football yet. And you look at our boxing, our chances increase with some of these sports. Weightlifting, with boxing.
But don't lose your hope on the Super Falcons of Nigeria. They return back to the Olympic Games, and they're the most successful team in Africa. And they will not be taking chances. They are going to be facing the World Cup champions, that's Spain, in that encounter, and then the Chicos. But I know that I can be optimistic about the Super Falcons.
Absolutely, you can. But like I've said, and I've told people earlier, that the most difficult sport to win a medal at the Olympics is football.
Yeah.
Is football.
Why do you say so? Because it's a team sport and not an individual
sport? It's a team sport. If you have 8 players who are having a good game. You could have one player with a terrible game and you're done. You know, it's in terms of quality also. You have different countries who are clearly better than us when it comes to women football. The world champions, the European champions, the defending champion of the Olympics also. So we might get our chances, maybe win a bronze or a silver, but football is still the most difficult route, you know, to get a medal when it comes to, you know, the Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but other sports with boxing, with table tennis, you know, with athletics, weightlifting also, you know, these are sports where, you know, it relies on your own ability, it relies on your own performance on the day, and if we get it, it's better for us, you know. If you get gold or silver, it doesn't matter the sport, it's for the country, you know, it goes straight into the country on the medal table. So I really don't buy into the whole, we should focus our attention on football, you know, to get a medal. No, it's easier to get more medals, you know, from other sports than football itself.
All right, we're hoping that, as I did say earlier, June 2nd, the camp opened for Nigerian athletes who are in preparation for the Paris Olympic Games. Now, let's be up to speed with the Making of Champions Grand Prix happening in Yabatech. We have got our producer there, Toby Ainde, of course, who is joining us live right now as I hear from my producer. Action already began on Friday, and we're already hearing from the sport that Iranians are breaking the records, you know, having to shake the feet of Nigerians who are making that competition. Toby, keep us up to speed. What is the latest right now for June 1st for the Making of Champion Grand Prix?
Well, it's so good to be here this beautiful morning. The Making of Champions Grand Prix began yesterday with the throw event, and like you said earlier, the Iranians are doing so well. They did so well yesterday when the event began. And just behind me, the 100-meter hurdles event has also begun, and the triple jump event has also begun, and it's been so exciting to see a couple of athletes trying to push themselves to the limits and break their own records right here at Yabatech. Also, I must tell you that this particular event is an Olympic qualifier event, and it's a challenger event right now with the World Athletics Council, and it's so exciting to see. Just a couple of minutes ago, we had Chris Medwesi, who is the community manager of the country manager, I beg your pardon, of Making of Champions, and he's going to be joining me in a couple of seconds to give us how the event has been so far since yesterday and presently what we are having. Chris, we'll be having Chris now.
All right,
hello Chris, how are you doing this morning? So how's the event, the Making of Champions Grand Prix, how has it been? So yeah, I can hear you. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead with your interview, Toby. I'm loving the conversation. Please go ahead, actually.
Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay, Chris, how has it been so far, this event that we've witnessed? We've seen the 100-meter hurdles for the men's and women's event a couple of minutes ago, and we saw that the athletes are trying their best to do. What is the unthinkable? Tell us about it.
So, Making of Champions Grand Prix has a reputation of, you know, delivering good performances. Athletes qualify for the Olympics. The last one we had about 2 athletes qualify for the Olympics. That's Ferdinand Mayala and you know, Grace Mukota. But this year we've had the field events. On the first day, Iranians dominated. There were 2 mixed records in the shot put and in the men's discus as well. This morning we've had the hurdles. Faith Osamui won with 35.8. It's a good time, and we're looking forward to so many good performances later this afternoon.
Well, definitely, so many good performances. But let me ask you, Chris, the 100-meter event and the 200-meter events are the events that are going to be the continental ones, talking about, especially when you consider that the Making of Champions is a challenger event now. So what are we expecting from the 100 meters and the 200 meters later?
Fireworks, I should tell you, fireworks, because there are so many top athletes here in Lagos already. In the women's category, we have Olajide Olayinka. In the women's category, we have Justina Eyapobeyon. We have also, in the men's category, we have Consider Ekanem, who has run 10 seconds this season. And there is also Israel Okun, who has also run 10.20 seconds. So there is a huge chance that we're going to have, you know, Olympic qualifying times here. I mean, I should tell you to look forward to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Well, that is the voice of, the face of crease this beautiful afternoon, the country manager of Making of Champions. And consider Ekanem is right here, Olajide Olayinka is right here. They are getting prepped for the 100-meter and the 200-meter event, which is going to be a qualifying event also. So fireworks are to be expected later on as the events are going on, Oyinye.
Great one and great conversation with the country manager. But Toby, I'm so curious to know, I know we've got some stars who are making their showing there at the Making of Champions Grand Prix. Can you tell me who you see there? I would love to know.
So far, I've not seen any stars, but you just heard from the country manager saying that Consider Ekanem is in town, Olayinka Olajide is in town. I can't wait to see both athletes who actually are doing well. Consider Ekanem has run a sub-10 this year, and it's a big deal to have him right here in Yabatek. And Olajide Olayinka, who is an African Games medalist, also is right here, and that's so great to see. I can't wait to see them as the events unfolds.
It's a great thing that Making of Champions are doing over there, because this is a good preparation for Nigerian athletes that will be making a showing at the Paris Olympic Games. I remember speaking to Olajide Olayinka. She was really emotional about how prepared and how she's also preparing for the Paris Olympic Games with the fact that she's based in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Oluwatobi Ayinde, for that update. We'll catch up with you some other time, maybe on our bulletins, to get the latest updates at the Making of Champions Grand Prix. All right, the beautiful one to hear from Yabatek. All road leads over there, where we have athletics action going on. Oladuni, it's interesting to know that Making of Champions are taking a bold step away from what the Athletics Federation of Nigeria are doing. They are preparing these athletes with a Grand Prix like that at Yabatek.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to know. This should be, or events like this should be the pipeline of our athletes to the Olympics. This is how we get to see people or athletes who will be representing us at the Olympics. If we rely on the government, if we rely on governments organized competitions to get us to the Olympics, I don't think we'd go really far.
Okay.
We need private organizations also to step in and create several competitions for our athletes. If we get to see a record number of Nigerians at the Olympics, it won't be bad. It won't be terrible.
Yes, so of course, it will not be bad.
The more the increase in competition would also lead to an increase in the number of athletes at the Olympics. It's just simple maths. And hopefully, the Making of Champions, we'll see a couple from there. And in the next couple of years, we'll see more competitions that would probably go on to rival the Making of Champions and produce talents that would make the country proud at the Olympics.
All right, our producer is there, reporter and producer Oluwatobi Ayinde. I'm sure to get more updates from him concerning the Making of Champion Grand Prix. We're going on a short break right now. When we come back, we'll talk everything basketball, especially the Basketball Africa League, getting the likes of Rotimi Akindele to join us in that conversation. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, In the Game continues. Welcome back. You're still watching In the Game. I still got Oladuni Bankole with me in the studio, but it's now time to talk basketball, Oladuni, and we'll have one man that knows knows the best when it comes to basketball. He understands the court so well. He has been able to familiarize himself, especially with the Basketball Africa League. I've got Rotimi Akindele joining me on In the Game today. Thank you so much, Rotimi, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Good morning, Bankole. Good morning.
Great to have you, Rotimi. Let's talk about the Rivers Hoopers right now. They clinched a bronze medal. They keep toppling the records, being the first Nigerian team to ever win a game at the Basketball Africa League, being the first Nigerian team to get to the finals, the final playoff of the Basketball Africa League, being the first Nigerian team to ever pick a medal. Great one from the Rivers Hoopers, but they went past Cape Town Tigers of South Africa, and it's great to see that they went home with something. Dominant performance from there. 80-57 is like they came like a roaring lion from that loss to Al Ahly Benghazi. So what do you make of this performance from the Rivers Hoopers?
I mean, excuse me, it was huge for the Rivers Hoopers. Credit to all of the players, credit to the team as a whole. They really wanted this one. And I mean, one of Ogadaudu's wishes was to finish on the podium, which he has done now with the team, and that's what we saw in that game. I mean, due respect rather to Cape Town Tigers, they lost some of their key players. Maybe that's why it looks pretty easy. Talking about the scoreline, 8-57, but not taking anything away from the Hoopers' dominance in that game. It was more like we should be playing in the final game, but we narrowly lost out, and now we just have to go with something, and that was kind of performance we saw. Kelvin Amayo with 25 points on the court. Before then, the morale booster again was the fact that the coach of Rivers Hoopers, Ogodaldu, was named as the best coach of the BAL season. So those are the things that probably spiked the boys and just ensure that they went all the way in that game against Cape Town Tigers, just to ensure that they finished on the podium. And if you look at the way Hoopers have done season 4 of the BAL, they've recruited so well. They got a fantastic manager in terms of the general manager who was able to identify and take quick decisions that has actually translated into this success for Rivers Hoopers. So I think overall, the campaign, the project, you can say it's a success for Rivers Hoopers. And let's just see how they can continue build up from here and continue with the success story. Okay. And maybe we've also set a standard for any other Nigerian side who will probably emerge champions of the league and maybe would want to go to the BAL. This is what you can do right, and this is how you can get to finish on the podium.
All right, the Rivers Hoopers, this is their second appearance at the Basketball Africa League, having previously struggled in the group stage in the first edition. How impressed are you? Because the truth is, you just talked about them, having to sign new players, prepare so well, get to the competition ahead of time, away from the other one where they got to the competition a day before their first game. How impressed are you generally for the organization and the support they got from home going into the Basketball Africa League?
I mean, you can excuse them in the first edition. The first edition came right after the COVID, what do you call it now? Reopening after COVID. So it was meant to happen in 2020, but happened in 2021. There were loads of factors then because people were just opening up, and then you had all these restrictions. You had teams who couldn't even train together. Everybody just had about a few days to put something together. They were in a bubble. You understand? It wasn't like we were playing any league matches in Nigeria back then. So we just had to present a team because Nigeria is one of the biggest teams in basketball on the continent. And we got that honor. And we, of course, we had to present a team. And, of course, since then, in terms of seedings for the BAL, Nigeria will always get a direct representation. So that was how Hoopers went to that first edition. And you could tell, just because we were not doing anything on the home front, anything worthy, anything worthwhile, they struggled in that one. Managed to win one game. Yeah, they didn't. It wasn't the total loss. They managed to win just one game in 2021, and that was it. In 2022, because of political drama in basketball, we didn't even present a team at the BAL. And then when we tried to correct some of our shenanigans, we were able to present another team last season, Kwara Falcons, which didn't do very well just because of a whole lot of things, a whole lot of factors. Now, what Hoopers have done going into this second season for them was that they were able to identify those factors that affected them in the first season, that affected us from totally missing out in the second season, that affected Kwara Falcons in the third season, especially when it comes to recruitment. So what they did was identify, the coach, by the way, was part of the first edition as well. So he's been there. He understood, understand the African terrain, and then knew that, okay, I probably will have to have this and this addition to make us compete. Don't forget, the idea going into BAL4 was just to compete. Qualify as maybe one of the best losers from the Sahara Conference because it was a tough conference, and then let's see what we can get. We just want to get to Kigali. And because of the power play they put up in Senegal, they were able to finish top of that conference. And then got to Kigali, still finished on the podium. So if you want to rate that growth from Rivers Hoopers, like I said, I mentioned the coach, I mentioned the GM, Ife Ozaka, the support they got from their government as well. Don't forget, this is a state-owned team. So you can't rule out the support they got from the Rivers
And he was
state
able
government.
to fulfill his promise even before this competition started. It's great.
Exactly. That's for even winning the basketball league in Nigeria. And then they still got more. They'll probably still get more. They got support from their government, the commissioner for sports, and every other person. So it just goes to show that if you have all those if you have that template with all the right support, you can do things well, or we can actually get things done well. But how well do we want to capitalize on this success? That's what I can't seem to answer, because I'm not an NBBF member.
Thank you so much. Time on our friend. But Rotimi, I would have continued this conversation, like dragged this conversation, but we still have more to talk about in the world of sport. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on In the Game today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, have a lovely day. Oladuni, great one coming from Rotimi there, saying good things about Rivers Hoopers. Yes, they deserve the flowers because they put in a lot of work going into this Basketball Africa League, and we could see the dividend with a bronze medal, Oladuni.
Absolutely. It's something that they did something that a lot of Nigerian teams, especially when it comes to football and basketball.
I cannot wait. The NBBF should be able to make the national team, create a national team from these players.
It's
I cannot wait.
continuity and growth. You know, even after the field in the first edition, you know, keeping the coach, keeping a couple of the players, and focusing on recruitment. I've always, you know, emphasized that our success on the field, on the courts or on the pitch, whatever it is, can only be achieved through our success on the environmental factors. The factors that Rotimi talked about that affected the Kwara Falcons, that also affected the Rivers Hoopers on the first edition. So I think if we get things right outside the courts, we have the talents to execute things on the court. So it shouldn't be a problem. We should just ensure that the proper framework, the proper support, you know, is handed to these guys. And I'm sure, you know, medals would follow.
Of course, medals should follow. When you put in a lot of work, you see the dividend, you will see the rewards.
Absolutely.
Let's move away from basketball a bit because of time. Oladuni, I beg your pardon. Let's go to football on the domestic scene, the Nigerian Premier Football League. Yeah, from the statistics coming up, can say that 25 away wins out of 330 games have been made in this season for the 2023-2024 season. We heard the league chairman saying that he would take no like a basic attitude going into this remainder of the games to the running for the title. But big games to expect for today in the Nigeria Premier Football League. I have got Robert Olimene right now, an NPFL expert, joining us in this conversation. So Robert, thank you for joining Oladuni and I.
Good afternoon to you. It's good to be on the program.
It's great to have you, Robert. I know that I've got bills to pay for the fact that I've kept you so long, but don't worry, I'm able, I'm capable, I'll settle those bills. But let's talk about the big games for the weekend. Enyimba and Rivers United. How much of an impact would this make in the game, especially for the title run? Enyimba defending their championship, also considering that Rangers are going away from home to play Sporting Lagos, and Remo Stars are welcoming Kano Pillars. How much of these encounter, how will it, impact the title run?
Well, let me start with Remo Stars first and foremost.
Okay.
For Remo Stars, they play host to Kano Pillars, that is today, and that match is a very, very important one for Remo Stars. Why is it so important? It is important because for Remo Stars, in 5 meetings against Kano Pillars, have not defeated Pillars. In fact, in 2022, Pillars defeated Remo Stars in Ikene by 3-1, then under the leadership of Agbenga Oguvote. So this is more or less one door that more or less has very, very dark memories for them. And right now, they are third on the log behind Enyimba on goal difference. And this match is one match that if they can get it, they definitely will go back to second position. And of course, a couple of points that is behind Rangers. So it is pivotal for them to win and of course, power the pressure on Rangers who play Sporting Lagos tomorrow. And of course, from there, let me talk about the Rangers Sporting Lagos game before I talk about Enyimba Rivers United game, because both games are set to be played tomorrow. For Sporting Lagos, they are more or less fighting for their lives. Because right now they have 41 points on the log and they are more or less flirting with the relegation zone. So if they can get this point, they more or less go as far as 11th, 12th on the log. That is depending on what other teams in that same position plays tomorrow. So that is Kwara United and a host of other teams, including Aqua United as well. So for Sporting Lagos, they will probably not be able to do or will not be willing to do Rangers. That is a favor because the rest of the roster will be looking to Sporting Lagos to do them that favor tomorrow, especially Enyimba and, of course, Remo Stars. For Sporting Lagos, the game against Rangers is the 4th game for Coach Abdullahi Bifo. He has played 3 games so far, 1 victory and 2 defeats. Those victories came at home. That is at the Mobile Johnson Arena. And, of course, that match was against Akwa United 4-2. And he has lost 2 games away. So for Sporting Lagos, I think they'll be more or less looking out for their own good and, of course, trying to keep their MPFL status that is going into next season. So tomorrow's game is very, very important, not just for Sporting Lagos, but for also Rangers, who, if possible, might want to get a point away from home or 3 points. But I think it's going to make for an interesting scenario and, of course, some atmosphere right there at the Mobile Johnson Arena. And I will switch to the question you asked me. Rangers against Rivers United. For Rangers, I would not say they're out of the title race yet because they've lost Finidi George to the national team job. They've lost Kotiyema right now, who is out of the country. Don't worry, I will keep the specifics to myself because of a couple of...
We know he's in Scotland, don't worry. We know.
For Enyimba, they have their work cut out for them. That is against Rivers United. For Rivers United, they found joy at home. 4-1 defeat of Sporting Lagos last time out. That was last weekend precisely. So they will be looking to see if they can more or less improve their lot on the road. We saw what happened to them during the 5 outstanding games they had.
Yes.
That was when the MPFL was on a 3 weeks break, and they really did not get so much joy on the road. They only got 1 point, and that was against Kwara United in the Lorry. All other games they played away from home, they were beaten blue-black. So for Enyimba, they will more or less want to continue that run against Rivers United, and of course try and also boost their own outside chances of getting their hands on the MPFL title. So I think this weekend will more or less have us at the edges of our seats, as well as also give us the kind of drama we probably we will get to enjoy as we more or less look to the running for the MPFL title at the end of the season.
All right, Robert, you've been able to do justice to a run-up of everything to expect in the MPFL for this weekend. Time and our friend, I would have dragged you, Robert, but the Lord of creation saved you today. So all I did was let Robert go at this time. Thank you so much for having to preview the games for the MPFL as it returns to action.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, great conversation there, Oladuni. But Oladuni, before the show wraps, I would like to talk about the UEFA Champions League. I've got little time, but I must talk about the quest for supremacy between Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. This is Real Madrid, who are the most successful team on the European scene, and Borussia Dortmund, who are trying to find their feet, even under a coach who has not been to the final before. I remember that the festival for the Champions League, of course, commenced in London. As of Friday, we had Mikel Obi, lead the trophy tour. It was a great encounter seeing, past legends of the UEFA Champions League having to snap over there in London. But ahead of today, the big encounter between Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. Who is your money on, Oladuni?
I mean, it's going to be wise to put my money on Real Madrid. They're the most successful team in the UEFA Champions League. Winning this would mean they would go up to 15 UEFA Champions League titles. That is a ridiculous amount of UCL titles for a club side. The last time they lost the final to Liverpool was in the 1800s, and you see that this is a team that has the heritage of the UEFA Champions League. For Borussia Dortmund, it's nice to see that they've gotten to the final. It wasn't exactly an easy route to the final, defeating the champions of Italy, Inter Milan, also defeating Atletico Madrid, and the champions of France, PSG. But against Real Madrid, it feels like it might be a mountain too high to climb for the Germans. Remember the last time they were in Wembley in 2013, they lost to their fellow German teams in Bayern Munich.
Oladuni, because I'm pressed for time, I must tell you that Opta has the percentage of win already, and they are tipping Real Madrid at 63.5%, while Borussia Dortmund at 36.5%. So what would be your prediction at this time? Who do you think would be the champions of Europe?
I'm going to go with Opta also. I think Real Madrid would definitely...
What do you think the scoreline would be?
I think it probably might be close. Maybe a 2-1, 3-1 victory for Real Madrid. But I don't see this going beyond 90 minutes.
Okay. let Real Madrid get the job done in London Wembley. Of course, it's going to be the last game for McIlroy and Toni Kroos. And of course, we've got a lot. There'll be a lot of farewell for both teams when 90 minutes gets on the way. We have been joined by one who knows how to talk sport, Oladuni Bankole. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And remember, you can get more. Follow, like our social media platforms at News Central TV. Catch more update on Sunday with my colleague Ifevo Ichwa. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. Bye-bye for now.